How y'all doing? Redneck Programmer here. So we're back. We used a new equation here. This new equation is based on this. Alright, so we're not using this one anymore. And the problem is we're passing a volume. Well, a volume of what? That volume is a percentage, right? As we said before. You got beer at 5%, you got wine at like 11%, you got whiskey or rum or whatever at 40%. So how do we know when to use those? Well, we're going to have to add another user input. So let's go right up here. So let's add a couple of more variables. We're going to say string what? Beverage, right? We want to know if it's beer, wine, or spirits. We'll call them spirits. Then we need our alcohol percentage, which can be a decimal. And let's just set that to 0. Before we get down here to how many drinks you had, let's add a new one. And we can go ahead and use this again. Alright. Instead of saying how many drinks have you had, let's say what kind of beverage did you have? And let's make a new line. Remember how to make a new line? Now notice this concatenation, it did it for me. I didn't do that. So we'll make a new line and we'll say please enter beer, wine, or spirits. Okay. So instead of volume input, we have what? We're going to have a new beverage input. And it's not a next double, it's a string, so just dot next. Now we're going to say the beverage input is equal to beverage. Let's make that a string. Now then it'll say you entered beverage. But that just prints out to the user what they've typed in. So we need to do something else. We need to say what the alcohol percentage is, right? So the alcohol percentage is going to be equal to something. How are we going to get this alcohol percentage? Because like we said, beer is 5%, wine 11%, spirits are 40%. So we're going to have to make a new method, a new function. So let's call it get alcohol percentage. And we're going to pass that beverage input. So they're going to enter beer, wine, or spirits into this new method. Now then this doesn't exist, so let's make it. So this is a good example of using what's called a switch statement. So a switch statement says that you're going to have a case, and if it's a specific case, then you return something, right? If it's none of them, you break out. So let's look at the syntax of it. We're going to make a new public method. It's double, right? Because it's going to be a percentage. So the return type is a double. It's called get alcohol percentage. And we're passing it what? We're passing it a string. Okay, and that's not red because we've actually used it already, right here. But it doesn't do anything yet. So let's make it do something. So we're going to say switch, drink, curly brace. Now then, what's our first case? Well, first case is beer, but it's a string, right? So we got to put double quotes. And it's going to use a colon. And if it's beer, then we want to return a double. So we're going to return 5%. 0.05. Now then, if it's wine, we're going to do it again. Case, wine, return. What did we say? 11%. Let's just say 11. I looked this up earlier, so the numbers are pretty close. Last, we're going to have spirits. Return. Now, this is all averages. Because, 100 proof versus 80 proof versus, we're going to average it out to 40%. Now, if it doesn't do any of those, then it's got to have a default, right? That default is going to say throw new illegal argument exception. And we're going to say drink not valid. Now, this is how you make the old switch statement. So let's look at how Java 14 does the new switch statement. So we can go ahead and copy this method. Everything else is the same, but instead of having a return, it's going to be a little different here. We're going to say return switch drink curly brace. And now then, we're going to use a new operator. We're going to say case string, which is beer. And then we're going to use this arrow looking operator. It's just dash the greater than sign. And then we can say 0.05. Case wine. 0.011. Case spirits. 0.40. Default. And see, it already includes that little arrow. And we'll just say this. Throw new illegal argument exception. And there you go. So this is what's called, this is a new syntax in Java 14. If you want to look up some of the details on what it can do, how it's increased performance, go Google it. So now we have our switch statement. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to test it, right? But before we test it, we're going to have to add some stuff down here. So as a parameter, we're going to have to include one more. It's a double alcohol percentage. Now down here, this volume, it's not just the volume, right? Let's pull that back up. It's not just the volume that's being calculated. A is the number, the quantity, how many ounces, and then the percentage. So we need to include this right here. So instead of just volume times 5.4, we're going to actually have volume times alcohol percentage times 5.14. Now, why is this red? Well, because we're not passing it yet. We need to pass this when we call it. And where's that being set? Right up here. So it's calling this method, setting the value to this, which is assigned to this variable, and then passed to here. This saying it expected 4 but found 5. Well, I guess I need to put a comma in. There we go. Little stuff like that's going to irritate you. Okay, let's run this. See what happens. Uh-oh. I forgot something. There it is. Semicolon. That's another cliche, isn't it? I forgot the semicolon. All right. Let's run it. Now let's use some test results that they have here. We're going to use this 170-pound man consumed 7 12-ounce bottles of regular beer between 8 p.m. and midnight. What's his BAC at 12:30 a.m.? So we have some test data here. Let's put it, so So what do we have? He said he had beer, right? Beer. How many did he have? He had 7. You male or female? Male. Weight, 170 pounds. And how long since he last drank? Well, it was 4.5 hours. Now, I've made a mistake, but I'm going to let you guys catch it. 4.5 hours. Oh, my goodness, look what we got here. That doesn't look right, does it? So let's rerun it and correct our mistake. So you had beer. How many drinks do you have? Remember, this is in fluid ounces. So we should probably state that up here. Right? How many drinks have you had in fluid ounces? Let's rerun it. Stop. Go. Beer. How many drinks do you have in fluid ounces? So 7 12-ounce beers is what? 84 ounces. Male. 170 pounds. 4.5 hours. We got 0.106. Let's see what they got. Look at that. On the money. Well, that works for male and that works for spirits. Let's do female. All right, so we'll do this one next. So she had what? She had spirits, right? She had bourbon. So we're going to call that spirits. How many drinks have you had in fluid ounces? What was it? She's had 4 shots at 1.25 ounces. So that's 5 ounces. She's female. What was it? 115 pounds, I think. Yep, 115 pounds. And how long was it that since she had last drank? What did she say? 9 to 11. So 3 hours. 3. 0.09. Let's see what she got. And right here, BAC, 0.09. So it looks like we're a little bit more accurate. So check out next time. We're going to keep adding to this. We're going to learn how to use a logger library. So you can start logging exceptions instead of the console. You can actually create a log file that you can check later. Bye, y'all.